All right, everybody, welcome to the next episode 7 of the Step 1 podcast, where we help you take your first step and your next steps in business and in life. And today's guest is an entrepreneur power couple that is invested in giving back to the community like no other. Some rules and regulations before we start diving into their backgrounds really quickly. Again, knowledge without implementation is just entertainment. So make sure when you're taking notes today, make sure you get a game plan together and make sure you take massive levels of action. Number 2, if you have questions or anything like that, comment down below. I assure you we will get back to you, and I'll make sure we all reach out to answer any one of the questions that you have. And last but not least is make sure you share this with your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people in your life. They need to hear this information, and I want to make sure that you don't hold back. Make sure you're sharing this with the people that you love. All right, so let's introduce them. So I'm going to dive into their bio. My guest is Bart and Kristina Henderson. This is the longest list for a bio that I've had ever. So please bear with me.
You don't have to go over it all.
You can just skip.
But just like several incredible companies, from Henderson Promos to now Grassy, which we'll make sure we talk about it in a little bit. Beyond that, Kristina also became the CEO of Henderson Promos in 2018. In 2020, she became Miss New Jersey, which is incredible. On top of that, this power couple is giving back to so many different organizations. Again, I have an entire laundry list in front of me, but we'll talk about each and every single one of them in a second. But without further ado, Bart and Kristina Henderson, thank you for coming to the show with me.
Thank you for having us.
It's so great to be here with you.
I appreciate it so very much. We're going to go through so much. So I want to dive into your stories, because I feel like, you guys are at an incredible place in life, and truly at a fairly young age for what you guys have accomplished.
Thank you.
And it's amazing. And I want to rewind the clocks a little bit. I want to know the younger you, because I feel like, were you the people back in middle school or high school where people would have bet on you being where you're at today?
It's a good question, right? I don't know. First,
That's a great question,
right?
right?
Like back in middle, you can go as early as you want, but about your childhood, middle school, anything you want to share about.
I would say no for me. Middle school, I was bullied a lot in middle school, and I always had big dreams, but people didn't take them seriously. People didn't take me seriously. And so I would say no. So it feels good to, almost prove people wrong in a way as well as to where I am today.
I love that.
Yeah. And for me, academically, definitely not, right? I didn't strive and do well academically until college, really. And in which time I finally did really great. But I always had a drive, and I always knew I wanted to do things. I always worked hard, had jobs when I was, 8 and 10 and 12. But I don't know, people oftentimes gauge you based on how you're doing academically. And
especially when you're young.
That's it, and academically, no, but all other indicators, perhaps, and I think that Chrissy especially has just continued to grow and crush it and completely supersede anything that
and I didn't take school that seriously either in middle school and high school. It wasn't until I started paying for my education that I started to really work hard at it when I knew it was my dime.
Was entrepreneurship like something that both of you guys knew like from the get-go when you were younger that it was going to happen, or like you guys fell into it?
Definitely for me. Absolutely. I was I did everything. When I was 7, I was like 7, 8 or 9. I was selling handprints. I would copy them at my mom's office and sell them to people for 5 cents or 10 cents. And then I had a landscaping company back in the day, which was essentially me rolling around town with a lawnmower and some clippers when I was 12. Yeah. I would buy candies from a place called Franklin's in Atlantic Highlands on First Ave. For 25 cents, and we would sell them for 45 cents to businesses up and down. Sweet. So I just loved it. It's interacting with people. Entrepreneurship was always kind of in my blood, I'd say.
I love that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I didn't know how I would get to where I am today, but I always had a drive to be successful. I didn't know what that path was going to look like. I didn't know what my journey was going to look like, but I always felt a passion should just be successful. But I didn't know I'd be, leading a business. I didn't think that would be my way. I went to school for journalism, so I did that for a little bit. I thought I'd be a on-air reporter, and I thought that's how it was going to really be successful. But I just had a thirst for more. And when I went into journalism, I was making peanuts, and so I was ready to really, be on the next level, and it would have taken me years and years through journalism. And so running a business was the quickest way to get there.
And one thing that Kristina touched upon is her path, right? I think that so much of us at our young ages focus on your path. Like, where are you in life? And we're still figuring out our path, right? I mean, you should always be figuring out your path. You shouldn't be comfortable. You should be constantly figuring out. So many people wake up and they say, oh my God, I'm 28. I haven't bought the house I want yet, or the cars or whatever. It's like, we all have our own path, and there's reasons you're there. And she's just a great example of going through the path in a different way.
And it's okay if it's unconventional.
Right.
You do it the way that you're meant to do it, and you don't have to compete with anybody else. It's you. It's all about you and your journey and what feels right.
That's awesome. And so then let's, I want to also look into like right before, like when you were back in your, call it previous careers,
Yeah.
right? Because you guys met young.
Oh yeah, we've
Yeah,
been
I was
together
19.
over 10 years now.
Which is awesome.
Yeah,
it's,
awesome.
that's so cool.
We have so much fun.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you know, from
We
your
grew up
position,
together.
I was gonna say, you guys like basically, you know, really
Totally.
grew
Yeah.
up
We're
together.
different people when we met.
Well, that's what I was gonna.
Right?
That's what I was gonna say.
Safe
Like,
to
you guys
say.
saw yourselves grow into these people that you
Yeah.
are today, and
Yeah.
that's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
You know, but I also feel like, you know, you are the rarity in the sense where you were both growing on that path.
Yeah.
Because I always, you know, sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, it's one of you. You know,
Right.
one of you is
Sure.
growing like crazy and wants to go achieve all these things, and the other person just maybe feels uncomfortable about it. Right. So it's a beautiful thing to kind of see you both grow. So what do you feel like has been like, and again, this is just even for me, because I feel like I'm going through a lot of the growing pains too, where it's like, well, you know, going through all these transitions, like not only just career wise, but relationally, and everyone in your life. Like, what do you feel like are some like, you know, things that have helped you go through that, and, you know, pivotal pieces of that?
Chrissy, I mean, talking about when you were a reporter, you know, and producer, I think she did something which was kind of exciting, where she said, I'm just not doing this anymore. She went to school for it for a long time. Many people will say,
Spends a lot of money for it.
yeah. And many people will say, well, I did this for so long, I got to keep at it.
Yeah.
She said, I don't like this. And like that, right?
Yeah, I made a quick change. I didn't harp on it. I didn't beat myself up about it, that I was switching my career path. I just, I did what felt right. And Bart was growing Thrive promos, and it just felt right for me to jump in and transform it to Henderson promos. But we'll get into that a little bit. But
Sure.
I think he just always pushes me to be the best that I can be. And I feel like I hope I do that as well. And I think that's why we're such a good team, and why we kind of keep pushing ourselves to the next limit, because we both, we just have that drive for one another.
Essentially, if you're comfortable, as you know, it's like, if you're comfortable, something's wrong, almost, right? To a degree. I mean, you want to be happy, but if you're just comfortable where you at, there's always that next day.
Sure. Growth is outside the comfort zone.
And having someone else
I'm so grateful
to do that to you and
have
keep
a
pushing
partner
you.
to push you. Yeah.
At the beginning, like what, so, and I'm curious even from my own knowledge, like, was that like something that either one of you was resistant of at the very beginning? We're like, you know, going to the next level and like really
Probably
pushing?
me.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Because, you know, it's easy to be comfortable.
Sure.
It's easy to just fall into the same routine and do the
Sure.
same things. And, you know, I have to think like a business owner. I have to think like a
What was
boss.
that transition though? That's what I'm really curious about. Like, I'm curious of like,
Yeah.
you know, where was that moment of like, you know what, maybe I'll give this a shot. Like, and it is okay for me to give it a shot. It is okay for me to like not go the conventional route, you know, and,
For me, I know mine, and you can think about yours, but, you know, I went to law school and I got my MBA, and I was, you know, set up to be an attorney and make good money off the bat. And I actually had people in my life who were saying, how dare you, like, how dare you think of anything except for being an attorney? You went to law school and you got your MBA, and it's crazy. You're throwing your life away. And, you know, to have people think so strongly about what I should do. When I was in law school, I was printing t-shirts at night. So I'd go to law school and meet my friends early in the morning. We would study all day, get home, and you remember, literally
Screen printing machine in our kitchen.
at night.
Yeah.
And so by the time I graduated, I had either sold to or had contracts with a bunch of colleges and companies and things like that. And I said, I'm making more money right now than I would as an attorney. And so people would say to me, you're not going to be an attorney. I mean, I'm barred in New York and New Jersey, but not going to practice law to print t-shirts. Like, you're out of your mind. And I realized that you cannot let other people set expectations for yourself, right? There will always be people that say, you should do it this way. You should do it that way. And you should always listen to people, right? Because people have valid views. But ultimately, a lot of people, their standards are at average. And if you want to have a phenomenal life and things like that, you can't listen to everybody. And so I remember a pivotal moment where I was like, am I going to apply for law jobs when I do this? I said, no, I love it. I love, meeting new people and printing t-shirts and things like that. I'm not going to listen to the adults in my life who tell me, because you know what? I don't feel that they're where they want to be in life. And so why am I listening to people who might not be as happy as they could be? That was a big pivot.
Like, I think it's like about imposing fears.
Right.
Our inner circles impose their fears, their fears on our lives. And it's interesting because it's
Our
like,
families.
yeah, exactly. Like for me, it was my family and my friends,
same.
right? They were imposing their fears, and it's like they just care so much about you,
Right.
and don't want you to get hurt or fail or, stumble and fall.
I got to tell you, I'm so proud of everything you're doing, and I'm so happy to see you out there constantly making content, getting in front of people, growing and doing things against fear. And just getting out there, it's really great.
I appreciate that, man.
So keep it up.
For sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
But,
hey, you're a part of it now. You're a part of it now.
But as you're saying, I always say to Chrissy, and we kind of keep each other on it, fail hard, fail fast, fail often. And it's so funny because failure has become such a bad word in our society.
Yep.
I think that all of us as individuals think that we're so much more important than we are. And so, when you take it from perspective, I might think, oh, well, if I do this, people might care and think and talk about this. Generally speaking, everybody's worried about their own lives more than they are other people. And so
truly,
it's really, don't think you're so important that you shouldn't try things and fail and be embarrassed or things like that. If you don't fail, you've got no shot, right? I'd rather fail at 10 things and hit one than to have never.
If you don't try, it's never going to happen, right? So what's the worst that could happen?
I just feel like failure has just negative connotation to it, where like, to me, failure is a necessity in business.
Yeah.
But number two, it's also a learning experience. It's not like, it's how you define it.
Right.
I just define to me, the word failure just means a learning experience.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with me. Like, I'm not going to not go again.
Right.
And then you appreciate it so much better when you do get there.
Yeah, it's like,
so many people think that if you go out for a new career and it doesn't work out, oh my God, my family and my friends, they think I wasn't able to do it.
And you think, it could be embarrassing.
Maybe you didn't like that career. Maybe you just got to go to the next thing. It doesn't really matter what your family and friends think. It doesn't, on most things at least.
We live our lives for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not for other people.
Right.
But the more we can take care of ourselves, the more we can take care of other people, like you guys are with, and all the different organizations you guys are doing. But what about you? Like, what was that pivotal moment back in the day that like kind of just, I'm done with mediocrity?
I
love the moment when you were in the room with the reporters talking about that plane crash.
The news can be a very negative environment to work in. And
you think?
And so
there's a positive side of the news. I haven't seen that yet.
And I'm a positive person. So, for example, there was a plane crash that they were covering, and the people in the plane crash had survived, and the people I was working with were upset at the outcome because it would have made better news if they hadn't. And so that was a moment for me where I was like, ugh, this is not the place I should be in. This is not me. And so,
right.
I came home and we talked about it, and I said, this is too negative for me. I don't want to be around these people.
That night, she said.
Yeah. And then, I think also what also moved me in the right direction was having a student loan that I had to pay for from Boston University, not a cheap university. And so the news industry, I was making peanuts and in this negative environment. So I wasn't happy, and I wasn't even making money like when I was unhappy. So it just, all these things pushed me kind of into the right direction to got me to where I am today. So
wow.
I think that was a big moment. And I felt like, I was 26 at the time. And I said, I don't want to wait any longer to be where I want to be. I need to make a change.
Right. We're always saying, I want to put things off and do it later. I know for me, it was, well, once I graduate college, I'll do this. Or once I graduate law school, I'll do this.
Yeah.
It's like, especially for people who are listening or are going to see this that are going to college or going to law school or any sort of master's program or something, it's a BS excuse to say you're going to wait until after you get out of law school or college or whatever. Start now. There's no reason you can't do whatever you want to do at nighttime in college. And so when I went to law school, I said, I'm going to start a company now at nighttime while I'm in law school. There's always going to be another thing to wait for. Wait till I now get my real estate license. Wait till I get my title, whatever it might be. There's always another thing you can wait for. Don't wait. Just do. You know?
Yeah, I feel like I'm so not about perfection. Like I am just get it done, move quick, and like perfection will come by the alternate versions of whatever I'm trying to create.
Right.
Obviously, the first round is not going to be that great.
Right.
Like I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But like the faster I can, get started, the better odds of success that I have.
Absolutely.
And we were just chatting about, the faster you can get to $1,
that is. So I've been blessed to have a lot of friends and family and people come to me with all these great business ideas and businesses they want to start. And I always give the same advice time and time again. And it's do the fastest thing you can to earn $1. And I literally mean $1. I'm not talking $100, $1,000. Do whatever you need to do to get to where you are getting paid by someone $1. And the reason I say that is because there's such a wondrous haze when you're starting a business. You can spend hours making this beautiful website, right? And you can spend days with designers making an awesome logo. And it's so romantic and it's so fun and exciting, but you're really not doing what you need to be doing. So
Agreed.
What you should be doing is it's great to make a website. It's great to do logos. It's great to talk to people and tell them your ideas. It's a lot better to go out and say to somebody, will you buy this from me?
Yes.
Or is there value in this? And so I always tell my friends and anyone I talk to, make $1. Literally ask someone to buy your stuff, because you might find it's actually not a great idea. Nobody wants to buy your stuff.
Well, everything can sound like a great idea in theory.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's just like bring it to the marketplace and let the marketplace tell you what they really think.
There you go. Because it's I've done it many times in many different companies that we own, and it's fun to make logos and do all that. But what's not as fun is dealing with clients and dealing with customers and things like that. You don't have to have a website. I mean, you should have a website, but you don't have to have a website. You don't have to have everything perfect to just get out there. And like you said, don't chase perfection. Chase getting it done. Get $1. That's really the number one thing I could say for anyone who starts a company, because you might not even like that company.
Well, think about like how everything has started, like these massive organizations that are here today. Like Amazon wasn't what they are today. Imagine if he waited to make it perfect. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, like, there was no, it was barely a website. I mean, like, again, like, he was one of the first websites out there, but it was like selling books and it was the ugliest website in the world. But what it's turned into is only turned into because it's just reiteration. So yeah, I mean, like I agree where it's like, especially if you're getting into sales or small businesses, which we'll talk about in just a second, because really you guys are like the king and queen of small businesses right now. Where it's just like, it really is speed to lead, speed to money, where it's just like, and one thing I heard was just when you start a company, it truly is just as fast as you can go from idea to dollar. Right? That really can prove your success or not very quickly. It's just the people who can do it the fastest typically will do the best, because it's like so many people, again, just chase perfection, chase the system, chase the operational back end when they didn't even sell the product and no one even knows if they want it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
It's almost a combination of fear and just our society. It says you got to wait and do this the right way. No, just get out there.
Sure.
Literally.
So even like the social media, like me posting on social media, I was like, guys, just start posting content.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Like, look, what it is now is nothing close to what we had to begin with.
Just be active.
Exactly. Just be out there. Yeah. Absolutely. So, okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about some current events.
Cool.
So obviously I'm not going to ignore COVID.
Right.
I'm curious to get both of your opinions on, for me, COVID ripped everything I had apart. Right. I was not prepared for it. Not that maybe a lot of us were, but it taught me so many different lessons, and I really had to rebuild everything I built from scratch again. what was going through your heads at the beginning? Like, how did you feel like you dealt with it? If you went through it again, what would you have done differently? I'm just curious, because like this is not the last time a major event's going to happen that's going to really rock the world. Right. So I'm just curious, maybe what you would do differently.
Absolutely.
Sure. So in March, when it first happened, so we're a promo company, right? We put logos on t-shirts, hats, bags. We work with a lot of clients who have events. Mm-hmm. And so of course, when the pandemic happened, all of a sudden, all the events that we were doing got canceled. Right. And, you know, it was a scary time for us because we had to pay our employees. We had to pay our bills. We went from operating, we had the best year ever. Yeah. In promotional product sales, and now we're operating at 15%. All of a sudden, what we normally
15, you know,
15.
Like,
so,
I mean, just imagine. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's just crazy.
That was intense, and so we had to act fast. And it so happened that hospitals and states started coming to us for PPE, personal protective equipment, the masks, gowns, gloves. And in the beginning of the pandemic, we used our manufacturers overseas, the ones who make our, you know, pens and tote bags. They were now making 3-ply masks and KN95 masks. Yep. And so in the beginning, we used our manufacturers overseas right in March, and hospitals didn't have any masks left, and their suppliers weren't able to provide. So they needed these items really quickly. And it was high risk for us because we had to pay all the money up front. And these are large numbers.
There were sleepless nights.
And a lot of sleepless nights in March. It was intense. And we decided to take that risk for our business in the beginning because we didn't know when promotional products were going to come back. We didn't know when people were going to have events again. Right. You know, it looked like it was the pandemic was here to stay for a while. Mm-hmm. So we took that risk for our business. Right. And so we were working with our manufacturers overseas. We were both on the phone with cargo ships and private planes, working to get the PPE to the hospitals and states and frontline workers who needed the most. And it was, like we said, high stress. And so we decided that we couldn't do that anymore because it was too risky. Even though it worked out, it was the production times and the shipping delays, and these are critical items. Yeah. So we brought the manufacturing to the USA, and we started producing 3-ply masks and KN95 masks, and we were able to supply hospitals and states with PPE from our factory in Santa Ana, California. And it was the best decision we made during the pandemic. Right. It was a way for us to pivot our business. We were able to help a lot of people at the same time and keep our business alive and successful. And then we ended up donating over 100,000 masks to nonprofits, like, you know, and food banks that need them most during that time. And thanks for your help of helping package the masks at the YMCA. We appreciate your help on that. And so we had to think fast and pivot our business in such a critical time. And then that's what I recommend to companies, you know, having a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. Right. You know, think outside the box and don't be afraid to take risks, especially during a time like that.
That's it. You have to take risks in business. You know, otherwise, you know, you can just go and be comfortable somewhere else. If you're gonna own a business, if you're gonna run, you have to take risks. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. And we took big risks. You know,
huge. I mean, and it was, you know, very stressful for us. And but it worked out. And so, but you know, even if it didn't work out, we would have been happy that we took the risk because, absolutely, you know, and then promos.
But when someone first called up and they said, you know, hey, can you get us masks? I said, masks? Like, no, what are you talking about? I can't get masks. Then we got another call from a client. Yeah. Can you get us masks? Yeah. I said, oh, okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it and we said, can we get masks? You know, and can we do this properly and safely? And can we get them there on time? And we talked through it and we said, look, people need help. People need masks. This is what we have to dive into. There's not going to be any events. Mm-hmm. We have to divert all of our attention. And, you know,
and not being able to physically feel the products, like that was also stressful. Yeah. You know, we got the videos of the product, but we weren't able to physically feel the product. So that was a big risk right there. But
well, that's supply and demand. I mean, you saw the demand, you had to find a way to get the supply. Yeah. And I feel like I want to talk about risk for a second because I know you guys kept saying that. Mm-hmm. And I think it's extremely important for people to realize that like risk doesn't also need to be major financial. It could also be like making you took a risk on yourself in diving into starting your business and quitting your careers and diving into this. Mm-hmm. Risk doesn't have to be all of a sudden laying out $100,000 on pre-paying for product, but risk can be small things like maybe distancing yourself from your family, distancing yourself from the negativity in your life. Risk can be, you know, the small, really, I think it starts with the small risks. Right. And then obviously like, you know, I want people to realize like those were calculated risks that you guys took. Like you guys knew what you were doing and obviously it paid off massively of what you guys did, but
yeah, it's a question of risk and reward, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
if you don't risk, there's very little reward out there, to keep going down the regular path.
And so, I want to hear you say it this way, but I'm thinking like what comes to mind is like people who quote unquote won't take the risk of hiring an assistant.
Right.
Who won't take the risk of, flying out to go see that client.
Right.
And it's just like, you're missing out on so much opportunity.
Absolutely.
It comes back to you tenfold if you do that. I mean, obviously people don't want to spend the extra money to pay for that assistant and out of their pocket. They want to keep the profit for themselves.
Sure.
But you'll make so much more by doing that.
We actually together, talking about us just as a couple,
Yeah,
we are very good yin and yang on risk and everything. I am, I'm ready to take the risk. And
I'm like, oh, wait, let's think about it for a second.
Yeah. So she's always keeping me in check.
Yeah.
And,
awesome.
And it works out, ping ponging back and forth, having someone to really trust and dive into that. What are the risks? What are the rewards? What can we get from that? But what you said, so many people, I know people right now who I've talked to this week who they don't want to hire somebody else because they don't want the money coming out of their pockets, right? But if the money comes out of your pocket, now you can go out and sell. Now you can build
You're freeing time. Exactly. You're paying for time back.
Yeah, it really, but there is a risk of, am I going to be able to do it? Am I going to be able to drive more business?
Yeah. Am I actually going to make more money? Because that's the risk.
Sure. Yeah, I feel that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And during COVID, it really made me completely rethink my entire structure of my company.
It probably helps though. Right?
No, I mean, it changed everything for me now.
Right.
But it's funny how like in the moment, no one was thinking about a year from now.
Oh my God. Exactly.
Nobody. Right. It was just like right now, what's going on? What's my circumstances and how do I, exactly.
That's exactly it.
But it's fascinating. I also found it really interesting about how fast we kind of went back to close to normalcy.
I remember thinking during COVID, are people ever gonna like hug and kiss and shake hands again?
Yeah, 100%.
I was thinking, is that like something that's gonna fade out of human interaction between regular people?
Yep.
And like that, as soon as people were able again, that connection of human to human, people being good to each other and loving, won over. People are hugging and kissing, and
the world needs it.
Yeah.
Everyone strives for it. Everybody wants it
exactly.
so bad,
Yeah.
It's really amazing. You're right. It came back just like that.
Shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about inflation.
Mhm.
Because for me, inflation is like, I'm in the real estate world,
Right.
and the housing market's gone nuts.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Right.
But I'm curious because for you guys, I feel like you guys feel inflation in a very different way than people realize, which is like you guys are in like material product based businesses where it's like all of those products now, I'm sure,
Absolutely.
are different costs than they once were.
The world right now, I often ask myself, how much of it is COVID and how much are we using excuses and how much is it really more the employment issue than the actual products, right? Because a lot of people can't get employees right now. Inflation is the most silent killer of money that people
don't even pay attention to.
Right. That's exactly it. And so actually real estate is I think a great hedge on inflation because when you buy real estate, you don't just purchase real estate that's going to appreciate over time, let's say 3 to 4%, depending on where you live or more.
Or most recently 20 or 30%.
Well, right. Yeah. So you don't just get the appreciation there to hedge against inflation, but more specifically and more valuable, you get the tax incentives if you're doing it correctly. And so now you're gaining, and then you're also being more efficient with taxes. And depending on how you are renting it out or whatever you're doing with it, you're also able to get a stream of revenue. So there's 3 benefits there, right? You can take your money and throw it in an index fund, which if you don't feel like doing anything, that's at a minimum what people should be doing, in my opinion, with money.
Sure.
Is I say, hey, if I don't have time or anything, I'll just put the money in an index fund because at least that hedges against inflation, right?
Yeah.
But property is magical the way that the tax code is written right now. To be able to hedge against inflation and build wealth.
Like people don't realize that like everything is skyrocketing in prices. I think like most people pay attention to like maybe gas prices, which is probably like the easiest thing that the rest of the world can see really quickly. But but things
people
like
will drive 2 miles or 3 miles to get cheaper gas, but won't spend 1 or 2 hours more to get a lesser percentage rate on their mortgage that's going to save them $50,000.
Isn't that freaking nuts?
Exactly.
Like, it's mind boggling.
It is.
And especially like right now, but like, I think like, we talk about like, or we can talk about lumber prices and a lot of these things for overseas that have just skyrocketed in prices where like people don't understand that jug of milk is going to go from like what, $2.50, $3.50 to $6.
It's the psychology of now versus later.
Yep. And just like all these little things that we take for granted are going to be a way different price. I mean, like obviously like, look, milk was 5 cents years ago. Now it's $3-4. I mean, people don't understand that's, you're talking, 50 times what it was worth, and that's like, people don't pay attention to that. But now like a lot of people, like a lot of what this podcast is about is understanding that like, if you don't do something about your life now, if you don't take 100% responsibility for your life, you are going to be in the same place in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. And you think about it, like you are losing money if you're making the same money every year because things get more expensive. Right. So if you're not, that's what I'm saying. It's just not what it's going to be worth in the future.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, like, is there anything that maybe you guys are paying attention to with inflation that you're doing to hedge yourself? Like, I know you talked about like
buying property. I mean, that's what we do. That's one of the things we do to hedge against inflation. Of course, we have regular things, index funds, whole term life insurance, all sorts of different financial instruments. But property to me is just the trifecta. You make money, you're gaining the percentages every year as it increases in value, and most of all, you're tax efficient. That is the best way to hedge against inflation. But as our company, Henderson Promos, it's commodities, right? It's a market driven thing. If the price of plastic goes up, there's not a lot we can do to hedge against inflation.
So I'm just curious because again, like I really don't know the answer on these things because for your business specifically, again, like you are sort of reliant or based on the value of the product that these other people are buying, and then you need to mark it up in your own way. So obviously now you're having to now probably charge more, right? But everything's more expensive. Depending.
On the product,
So are you feel like you're eating some of the costs on some of the things too, or?
It all depends on what we're doing and what's out of stock. So clothing and apparel is out like nationwide.
Yeah, it's they're making it now, but
that's insane.
Yeah. It's the stock is low on a lot of apparel items, and there's not much we can do about that.
So I'm saying, how do you deal with that?
Well, we deal with it in such a different way, I think, than other companies deal with it. And what that is, which is key to our entire business, is bringing value to our clients. And we do that through not promos, but through other ways. And so if people are working with us at Henderson Promos, then people are going to be getting value from us in ways that are other than promos. So if you are an accounting company, let's say, and we have a law firm, we're going to introduce you to one another. And now you have an account where you're making an extra 30, 40 grand a year. So guess what? Using Henderson Promos and buying $5,000 worth of t-shirts doesn't really matter because we just handed you an account for $30,000, $40,000. So we did over 250 referrals in the last 3 years, landed referrals, connecting people to people who are doing business with each other.
It's amazing.
Invaluable. You can't find a promo company who is going to be out in the community advocating, sending, I make intros whenever it's possible to add value
to our clients.
That's it. We drive business. And so, while we do have to be competitive on pricing, which we are, I think that people also have to dig deep and say, oh my God, Bart and Chrissy sent me like $10,000 worth of business last year or $50,000, whatever it might be. And they say, well, we don't really care. Just get us whatever we want for promos because we're making money because of you. And so we never ask, or generally it's not my place or rule to ask someone for business. I always show value first. So I will show people that I can bring them business. I will show people that I can enhance their organization or enhance what they're doing.
I love that.
Before I ever say, buy t-shirts for me.
That's so powerful.
And going back to what you're saying about apparel, like, stock is low in some items, but we offer thousands of different styles. So, if you want a specific shirt, say it's a Hanes Nano shirt, we'll find a very similar item if that's out of stock from Hanes. That's very comparable, so we'll work with our clients no matter what to get them exactly what they want.
Yeah. And then just like realizing that there's always a way to get something done.
Exactly.
Exactly. not holding back on that.
Absolutely.
So, all right, I'm going to pivot a couple different ways real
Yeah,
fast.
what do
All
you
right.
got?
So number one, I want to talk about a couple different things. Number one, going to becoming Miss America. Miss New Jersey, which is just, and so close to becoming Miss America, like so freaking close. It was ridiculous. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, but like, I'm just saying, like, I feel like it's just, no matter what you guys put your minds to, it freaking happens. And it's so amazing to see that, of course. But I mean, like, and I really, really mean that in the sense of like, I feel like, not that it came out of the blue, but I was like, wow, she's running for Miss New Jersey. Got it. And I was like, now you're running for Miss America. I was like, she's probably going to freaking get it. I was just like, this is just who you guys are,
Right.
but like, where did that come from?
I mean, not being afraid to take risks. I mean, going back to that, I wanted it, and I felt like it, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out, and then I'll move on. But if I don't do this pageant, it's not going to happen at all. So let me give it a shot. And, we already work with so many nonprofits, and pageantry really aligns with that, because being a title holder, I'm able to be a bigger voice for nonprofits that we're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
When I have a crown and sash on, people want to talk to me more, and it just helps amplify that message of
I was expecting you to walk in with it on.
I don't know. You could request it.
Damn it.
But a big piece of that too is everything in life is what you make it.
100%.
And there's people across the nation who don't, let's say, take a crown and make the most of it. Chrissy I'm so proud of what you've done. Chrissy's like at an event every day or two.
It's insane.
I had last week, was it? I had 2 events every day.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, you just so freaking own it.
Right.
Because so many people could have, again, gotten the crown and just did nothing with it. But I'm saying you just took so much ownership and saying, like, how could I actually embody and be everything that this is supposed to be and what it stands for, and just freaking rocked it. It's amazing.
Really cool.
And it's only a year long, and I want to make the most of it. I want to do everything I can possibly do within the year.
No, but see, like, you make the most of it in every way of both of your lives. Like, you don't have another freaking gear.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's a great point. And it's like what she made of Mrs. New Jersey, everybody watching can make of whatever they might be.
Yes.
And to give you a good example, if there's a young woman watching right now who's just starting her career in realty or something, she could become the young realty woman in her community. She's known for that. And she starts building a career on being a young woman leader, right?
What makes you unique?
Exactly. So take whatever you're doing.
Just share your gift.
Yeah.
Exactly. And make the most of it. Just
Absolutely.
make the most of it.
And be out there in the community.
That's a whole other.
Don't be afraid to go to the events and talk to people and put yourself out there.
Yeah, you're not going to start at level 10.
Right.
You're not going to start at Miss New Jersey. You're not going to start there. But what I'm saying is that, like, I feel like you've just grown so much into that over your life, where like this is like a perfect position for you. You know what I mean? Like, and you really embody every part of it.
Thank you. It's been a long road to get here to where we are today.
And we're still growing every day.
And we're still making new goals and new dreams. And, exactly. It didn't happen overnight, but we just stayed positive and believed in ourselves. And I believed in myself, even if other people didn't believe in me, or even if people thought it was ridiculous to go out and do it or whatever. I believed in myself, and I didn't need everybody else to really be a support system for me and my goals and my dreams, because I wanted it. And I wasn't going to stop until I got it.
I love that so much. Yeah. Were there people who really said that you couldn't do it?
Oh, but
I honestly, what?
Honestly,
like, my family wasn't didn't really understand it that much, and I didn't care. A
lot of people, and a lot of people don't, in life in general, they don't tell you can't. They don't say, Henry, you can't do this. They come about it.
It's like an attitude thing.
Yeah. Oh, are you sure? Or you could actually just keep doing this. Oh, isn't that going well though? Aren't you making enough money? They're not going to come out and say,
they don't understand all these different things that we're doing,
right? They're just going to be different towards you. So a lot of people, you might not be surrounded by people saying you can't do this, you can't create your dreams. You're surrounded by people that say, are you sure you want to do that? Oh, it's risky. Or, all these things.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, watch me and watch me be successful at it.
So
watch me do it and watch me own it and show you how amazing it's going to be. It's like, we could talk and tell these people, no, it's great because of this, it's great because of that, and this is why I want to do it. But I'll show you.
So, but that's what I was expecting that was going to happen. It was like, even both of you still have that. I want everyone to realize that, like, no matter what level you're at, you're going to constantly be hearing that voice in the back of your head that's going to be like, no, you can't do that. Or, you shouldn't be doing that. Or you should stay comfortable. Or you're like, why are you're out of your mind for thinking that you could possibly do this.
And I don't want to be around that kind of energy, right? Like, because it holds me back and it makes me get into my head. And that's not the kind of energy I want to be around. So I have distanced myself from people because I don't want to be around that. And it's not good for my psyche. It's not good for me going to the next level. Yes. So even if it is family, you have to be a little bit distant because you don't want that kind of negativity getting into your zone. You have to be confident in what you're doing and not let the noise get in the way. Absolutely.
Yeah. That incredible version of all of us that we're destined to become. Right. Yeah. I feel like that has to be the sole focus instead of the pleasing of other people.
Sure.
Right.
Because so many of us, I feel like, are so close to getting there or stepping into that new version of ourselves, but we hold back because we don't want to be different or seen, or we don't want to upset people in our life, or, because we're trying to, again, people please and make, we don't want to ruin relationships or whatever. And I've just realized that, like, most importantly than anything in my life is who I'm destined to become and the impact that person's going to have. Yeah. And I will not limit any part of my life.
Absolutely.
I will not stop until I'm at that point.
That's it. And that's the mentality everyone needs to have.
Right.
People need to have that mentality.
And there's always things that you can tell yourself or that you think, especially us sitting around this table, people might say, well, they're so young. It's not their turn, or whatever it might be.
Or people look at us too, because we're so young and we have, we are successful. Like, we'll get a weird vibe from people because, I don't know. It's not the norm, or we're not doing things the normal way that people do. And we get judged for that too, on a negative way, being successful. So we also have to navigate those kind of relationships. Absolutely. And that's difficult too. I want everybody in my life to be successful.
Yeah.
Everyone in my family, my friends, I'm their biggest cheerleader. And when that doesn't happen the other way around, it hurts. I can't say it doesn't hurt. And it's disappointing, but we just gotta,
keep fighting for our dreams.
That's it.
And keep doing us. And,
I love that.
That's it. Yeah.
So, last thing before we dive into a couple of these rapid fire questions here, in regards to your relationship, because I feel like a lot of people need it. I want them to hear this, right?
Yeah.
You guys just make everything freaking work. Right. I mean, it's just awesome to see because, again, like, I feel like it's like I'm finally falling into that world now.
That's
and
amazing.
I love that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's like, but it really is. And it's like, more than anything, I just feel like when you have the right person in your life, it just everything else gels.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it is like, I wouldn't say like a business, but it's a partnership. And there's a lot of things that have to be worked on, like a business.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right. And I feel like what are some things that you could say that have just like made your relationship work? And
I think the number one thing, and maybe you think differently, you can say what you think. Okay. I know. Well, no, I think, I guess that the number one thing is being open with each other. And so we are totally open with one another. And what I mean by that is Chrissy will say things like, Bart, don't do that. It annoys me. Right.
I don't say it like that.
Well, no. But, things like that. And
well, I'll tell you certain things to work on and things like that.
Right. But, and we're open financially. There's no secrets like that.
Yeah, there's no secrets like that.
I know couples and people who come up. We know people that share things with me and Chrissy about their significant other that they can't, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. This person does this and it bothers the heck out of me.
And they don't tell them. They don't even tell their significant other.
Because feel too awkward to tell them or something.
And we're completely open. Like, we
don't,
everything.
Don't do that. Or this bothers me. Or I'm a little annoyed that you did this today or whatever. And we don't go to bed angry with each other. Yeah. Like, we always work it out. Like, even if we don't want to discuss it right then and there, we do. We still do. We're like, all right. Yeah. And we still talk about everything that's bothering us. And you just got to share.
And then that's what makes us stronger is having those discussions and having those conversations and being completely open. We know a lot of couples that have their own separate bank accounts and different things like that. Like, I think it helps to be open and honest. And,
I love that so much.
We share everything, and what's mine is his, and what's his is mine, and that's, I think, what makes us a strong couple. We just completely trust each other, and I think, and we're best friends. We're best friends. Like, we tell each other everything, and we have so much fun together too. And we like all the same things. Like, we like the same foods, we like the same movies. We just have.
Well, and a big part is what you hit on, which is we've grown up
together.
Yeah. It's really cool to grow.
So I want to dive into then the before, right? So like because like let's just say these people, and this is
before Bart.
before Bart. So so I want to like think about it in the sense of like before, like for these people who are not in a relationship, but they are aspiring to have the relationship you have.
Sure.
Right. What are some pieces of advice you say to like all the single people out there who really do want the best possible relationship in the future for themselves?
Got some good stuff now going on mine.
Well, don't settle. Like don't settle for someone who's not worthy of your time.
Love that.
As a woman, make sure he treats you like a princess. Someone, has to really work for their time with you and has to be worthy to spend time with you. And, you have to respect yourself and put yourself to the highest level. Otherwise nobody else will.
Yes.
And so,
exactly.
You have to know your worth, know your self-worth. And if someone's not treating you that way, it's time to move on,
Love that.
And I never wasted my time. And honestly, it's like, wouldn't you rather be alone than be with someone who doesn't respect you?
Some people know.
doesn't respect you.
Some people would prefer to be
out there. And life is so short. Why waste your time if you're not
just look
happy?
at the last 5 years and how quick that might have gone by in your life.
Yeah.
Why waste it?
Why waste it? If you're not having fun and not enjoying life and not with someone that you trust and that you enjoy being around, move on and find someone that you enjoy being with, because there's millions of people out there, billions of people out there. You will find somebody who you really connect with and can be that person with, and to be your partner in life and your best friend and who sees the world similar to you. And don't change your essential, things that you need in life, your views and your morals and your, the things that you are non-negotiables. Don't be willing to change that for someone who's not worthy. If you want to have kids and someone else doesn't want to have kids, and that's a game changer for you, you need to find someone who does want that, because life is short and you need to be happy and find someone that you absolutely love and, who's there for you.
I think from a guy's perspective, the thing I hear most from my guy friends is, oh, I don't want a girlfriend. I'm not ready right now. I'm too busy with work, or I don't want to deal with that. Oh, I want to date around, or this and that. And that's such a BS answer, in my opinion. It's like, if the right person was going to come along, you're going to shut yourself off to that. That's crazy.
I say the exact same thing.
So you say, like, I don't get it. Like,
no, it's just because they haven't experienced finding the right person.
Right. And that's it. So my piece of advice when you're talking about finding the right person is like, you should always be open to finding the right person.
Yes.
It can happen at any time, any place.
Absolutely.
And don't, I say to single friends, go do the online dating, do it all. Like, just put yourself out there.
Although we got together before the whole era of online.
We did. So we didn't have to experience that. Thank God, no. No, but I do recommend it, even for like his mom or like other people in our lives, like put yourself out there and, date around and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Give it a couple dates. And then if, after the second date, then no, or the third date.
Yeah, I love the not settling. I love the being open part, and I always say, like, listen, you need to become the person who's going to attract that other person, right? Because you're going to attract who you are,
right?
And I feel like I wrote everything out that I wanted for my dream partner, and then I wrote out who would that person want to be attracted to, and then I was like, I need to embody that person before I find them, so that I will attract them. Yeah. Because I was definitely not who I am today a few years ago. And it's like, I wanted to work so freaking hard on that because like my future wife deserves that person.
I love that. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I knew that I probably wouldn't attract them until I became who I am today.
Right. Sure. And you want someone who's going to push you to be the best that you can be.
In every capacity.
In relationships. Exactly. I see people in relationships where they're not being pushed to be a better version of themselves. And then I feel like they're not happy. Right. And that might be part of the reason there.
Yes.
You're not having someone to be your biggest cheerleader and to really push you outside your comfort zone and do things that they believe that you can do. And I think people are searching for that. And that's part of it.
Look, the biggest level of support could also be saying like, hey, like, I think you could, like, you can be doing more. Share your gift, be more open, be more vulnerable. Like, go out there and go chase your freaking dreams. Absolutely. I feel like that's the biggest form of love, of like really pushing me to be everything that I can be.
Believe in you.
Exactly. And just like, exactly. Seriously. Awesome. So I love a lot of that. All right. So I'm going to dive into something called rapid fire questions. These are questions that I ask every single guest. All right. Cool. All right. So you can go we go back and forth. All right. So either way. Yeah. So, all right. So number one is, if you had to restart from absolute zero today, absolute zero, no money, no connections, none of it, no business, and you had to rebuild everything that you did, What will be your first 3 steps
Wow.
to building it up?
Number one, by far, the thing that has helped us grow as individuals and our business is engaging in the community. And that means a couple of things. That means networking, high-level networking, not necessarily low-level networking. That means getting out and meeting people and putting yourself out there. So I can tell you, if we had started engaging the community 5 years before we did, our company would probably be double or triple what it is already,
Sure.
right? The number one thing, especially the younger generation, it's like so foreign to want to go to an in-person event.
Yeah, it's always older.
And
crowd.
talk. Oh, we're the youngest people.
The youngest.
That's how I always feel. All my
Every
friends are
event we go
twice my age.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, but
And
that's what it is.
Aren't into it, and
Yeah.
it's like get into it because that's where it's
Seriously.
at.
That's where
Yeah,
business is.
that's how you
go
become
out
successful.
into your community,
Build a name for
you
yourself.
meet people,
Mhm.
and that's business. So that would be number one.
Mhm.
Definitely is go into the community and meet people. Do you have
Absolutely.
anything in particular?
Number 2. Decide what we're gonna do. What's our company gonna be? I mean, we're starting from zero, right? So what are we gonna do to make money? We're out in the community. What's gonna be our business? So we would brainstorm our business idea and put the pedal to the metal and go full throttle with it.
I think showing people that you can bring them value in that respect is very important. So
Sure.
it's one thing, again, let's say you are going out to all these either networking events or community events or whatever it might be, just going and saying, hey, I need you to buy t-shirts. Like, that's not going to get you anywhere.
You have to build a relationship.
And beyond build a relationship, you have to bring value. Everyone forgets value.
Yep.
Like, what are you, or what am I should say, back when I, let's say, was 25, what am I going to bring the CFO of a major bank? Like, what does he need me for? Well, I know a couple people who can move accounts over to that bank. I know, how can you bring value? Or maybe you can get them involved in a community project, but you have to bring value. That's a really big key. And the third thing, that I would say, so the first is getting in the community to bring value. The third thing would be remove your biggest obstacle. And the biggest obstacle could be right in front of you. And a lot of people, I could tell you, it's probably too much television. I mean, most likely, maybe I'm wrong. Everyone's a little different. Could be too much social media, could be too much television, could be too much. But it could even be that you're just exercising too much or whatever it is. Or that you're going out with your friends 3 or 4 days a week.
Spending so much money at the bar that you can put into your business idea.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's remove that biggest
Eating
obstacle.
out too much that you can
Look
put all
at
that money into your
yourself
business.
and say, what am I doing?
That's
That is
limiting.
my biggest time suck.
And it might be a little sacrifice in the beginning, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Look, it's your freaking dream.
Right.
Chase it. I love that. All right, next one. This might hit you differently, right? If today was your last day and you had just this very moment to share some advice to your future family, your future kids, people around you, what would one piece of advice be? One from each one of you.
Help others. My grandpa taught me when I was younger that there is no greater thing to do on earth than to help other people. And I think we get a better earth all around when you go out of your way to help others. And not only that, it will make you happy. If you help other people, it's not like you're just giving to them. I get so much in return from helping somebody else that it's like, I really benefited from that. So if I could tell my future family anything, it's make it your mission in life to help others and lift them up.
I love that.
Yeah.
Jinx.
I would say be a good person, follow your heart always, and just do what makes you happy. And I would be proud no matter what. Just do what makes you happy, follow your heart, and be kind. Be kind to others. Be humble.
See, I want people to hear that, like, listen, like, life is so much more than the flashy stuff, the money, the like everything that we look at as success. It's so much more about being happy and joyful and fulfilled and helping other people and giving and
Smile, laugh.
yeah, because like, listen, like I heard quite a few stories over the past weekend at this conference that I was at, and it was so much about realizing that, like, if really this was your last day, how would you be remembered? It has nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with your business. It has all to do with your impact, the connections that you had with people.
Absolutely.
Like, that's like, think about like the hundreds of people, or in your case, probably thousands who would show up, right? Would be because of the impact you made and the connections that you had with people. Right. All the small and large interactions that you had with people has nothing to do with the money. So just like, we take a real quick second for all of you that are listening and realize that, like, life is so much more than just your business. You are not your business. Your business is supposed to support your impact.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I love that. And all right. What is one skill or habit that has been an absolute game changer in your life, not just business related, in your life?
That's good.
That is good. One skill or habit that's been a game changer. Waking up early is part of it.
Yeah, definitely. Waking up early. And that goes both ways. That could be either waking up early or going to bed late, whatever kind of, operator you are.
It sets the tone for the entire day. It makes us get more work done.
Some people like to work into the night, versus waking up early.
Sure.
But one skill or habit, the thing that I've honed in on most in the last probably 3 years, I think I've had a lot of self-growth in the last 2 or 3 years more than ever, is listening to my own intuition above all others, really. I think the number one skill and habit is learning when to turn off the outside. I really, especially as a young business owner, I always listened to other people. I thought, well, they're older than me. They've got a bigger company. It could be that, but it took them 40 years to get there. I don't want 40 years to get there, right? I want to get there in 5 years. Not to say you don't have to be patient and build a business.
Sure.
Right? But the number one skill that has benefited me in the last 2 or 3 years is listening to myself. Because you know what? You're probably right. And don't get me wrong, you're going to get things wrong. But listening to yourself above others is, I think, the biggest skill as an individual, as a business owner. You really deeply know more than other people can know for you.
Sweet.
Anything for you?
What about you?
For you, I would kind of give what I think yours is.
I think it's what I was going to say.
What do you got?
No.
Just putting yourself in what would be uncomfortable situations.
Yes, I was just, yeah. I'm having that boss role, right? And putting myself in uncomfortable situations, I think, was a game changer for me.
Like growth situations, right? Yeah. Things that are going to make you become a better person, better leader, things like that.
Like what?
Yeah, as a boss, you can't be afraid to be confrontational a little bit, in a positive way that's going
constructive, more than confrontational, right?
Yeah. There are negative things happen at work sometimes, and in order to get past it and grow, you can't be afraid to talk about it and help your team be the best versions of themselves. And
yes,
I'm a sensitive, caring person. And so for me, that was my struggle in the beginning, was to be that boss and get through difficult situations with people without, I didn't want to hurt their feelings. It's a dynamic that you have to, learn and hone in on. It's a skill that you have to really practice to
but also
good at.
You being uncomfortable, I love the fact that she used to be afraid to speak in front of anybody.
Public speaking too.
Now she gets paid to speak.
I do. I get paid to speak now. It's funny because I never would have thought that would be my life, because in high school and middle school, I had a big fear of public speaking. And the fear was to the point where I would take the grade for a project without presenting. I'd say, give me the grade without the presentation part, because I was so nervous to present. That's how it was. That's how severe it was, my anxiety with public speaking.
Wow.
And to get over that is college, where that really kind of changed, because I had to take a public speaking class. And, I was really eased into it in a different way. unlike before. And it, you know, of course, when you fear something, the only way to get over it is to do it continuously and then get comfortable doing it. And then you become good at it. And so that's what happened with me. And now, now it's just a whole different vibe. I get, public speaking. I enjoy it. And also being prepared. Preparation is key as well to public speaking, and knowing what you're going to say and knowing who you are. And
so we gave you
points.
A lot of.
I love it.
But going back to the boss area,
Sure.
You know, having that role, that was difficult, and that was a skill I had to learn.
Still is.
And of course, you tackle different battles each and every day, and just being supportive of my team, pushing them to be the best they can be, and also giving criticism in a positive way to make them want to be passionate about their work and building our business to the best that it can be.
I think that's so powerful.
Yeah.
So I want to take a second also to dive. I just want to say I am so honored for you guys to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Really
it's an honor for us to be here.
Yeah.
Really.
I appreciate it so much.
Truly.
And I want to take a quick second and talk about, before we kind of wrap up everything, I want to talk about the impact that you're really making in this world, right? Because again, like you really embody everything that you've talked about today.
Thank you.
Right? Like no other. And it's really, seriously, because like, you don't really see it a lot. You have a lot of people who talk about it and say that like, oh, charities are important or want to give a little bit back to the world or volunteer. I mean, like, wow, the amount of freaking impact that you guys have made is insane.
Thank you.
Right? Because again, like, listen, like, but it's funny because it's like, I still hear people like, oh yeah, so I really support this charity. Like, no. Like, it's like 50, it's like 50 freaking charities. I mean, it's, you know, like you really like take everything in your lives to the next level. And I want to know how we in the community here can support you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cause it again, what we do, it gives back to us, right? It actually, there's nothing I think that we do that makes me as excited as seeing somebody that helped from something. Right. That to me is the biggest high in life you can get.
Absolutely.
The best feeling. And so it's almost like a selfish thing to say, like you give back and it makes you feel good. And so,
sure. So how can this community help you?
Right.
Okay.
So we're really stoked on what we're doing right now. So we are currently launching our own nonprofit to be able to give back more in a more tailored way. So we are launching the Henderson Foundation, and what that's going to do is it's going to focus on three areas. The first is it's going to be project-specific funding. So we work with a number of nonprofits, and we are going to talk with the nonprofits in the community and see specific projects that need to be funded through our foundation. So, you know, give an example, a soup kitchen doesn't have a ramp for wheelchairs. We want to be the ones to help pay for that ramp, right? This isn't going to be money that's just given away to some large national charity where we're giving, you know, $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 to somebody. It's going to be, what's the project, and your money is going specifically to that and to that project.
Love that.
So it's going to be picking things that we are really passionate about. That's one thing the Henderson Foundation is going to do. Number two is going to be connecting volunteerism. So we're going to try to get all the volunteer chairs or directors from the charities to, it's going to be like a job board, but for volunteers locally, at least. I know there are other kind of national charity boards, but this is going to be connecting local people, because what people say is, you know, they'll come up to me, Bart, I really want to volunteer. I just don't have the time.
Or people come or message us, hey, can I volunteer? What do you know, they'll ask for different volunteer projects.
Right. And the time is, you don't need to donate 4 hours a week or 1 hour a week, or you can give us an hour every other month, you know, and we can hook you up with a charity that could use an hour every month. So the second is going to be that volunteer. And the third thing is going to be micro donations, essentially, is what I'm calling it. So we're going to ask companies to do one of two things. We're going to ask them to either pledge hours. So a company like yours, we could say, we want you to take the Henderson Foundation pledge, or you're going to pledge 20 hours a year from your employees for volunteerism. Or we want you to say it's going to be whatever you choose, 10 cents per paycheck, right? 10 cents might not sound like a big difference, but if we can get 100 companies in the community doing that from every single paycheck, then it adds up and we can fund community specific projects. So you don't have to give 5 hours a week. You don't have to give $500 a month. you can give an hour every couple months and 10 cents every 2 weeks, to really help make an impact on our community. So we're really excited about this. This is the most exciting thing we've done in a while. We're going to organize it in a way that we can give back and have a larger impact for the future, I think.
Yeah, it just made sense since we work with so many nonprofits to do this and embark on this new venture and help
the nonprofit forum we're going to do. So we're going to do every year. The Henderson Foundation is going to do kind of a nonprofit fair or council, or we haven't come up with the name yet, but it's going to be hopefully 100 or more nonprofits. This year it's going to be in September, and we're going to be making the announcements and getting that kind of stuff out hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And so it's going to be a place where all the nonprofits can come together, learn from one another. We're going to have speakers, things like that, to really just try to optimize as much as we can, and also to connect businesses with nonprofits, because nonprofits need money. Businesses need to be able to help the community that they serve. Yeah.
Wow. I can't wait to support.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
We're looking forward to it.
So last few things, and I want to wrap up today.
Sure.
Again, so much of what you guys have done for this, not only just this community, but for the people who follow you, and the impact has really been beautiful.
Thank you.
And I am curious to know, and this is more of like a selfish question, but like I want to know, like for both of you guys, like how the hell do you pull this all off? Like how are you balancing life and work and all these other companies? I mean, like what are you doing here? I mean, it's just amazing.
It gets tough sometimes. Like recently with the launch of Grassy in the last couple of years, Grassy, which is our artificial intelligence landscaping company, has been kicking my butt. It's just a whole new industry landscape. Even though my partner's been doing it for 15 years, I'm learning a lot. We're learning the process. We're seeing industry specific problems that haven't been fixed in the last 50 years, that need to be fixed. And
sure,
it is tough. Owning a business and starting a business is not easy. It's just not for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the kind of person who gets stressed out about certain things and
it was getting into us in different ways. Like I was drinking way too much coffee, and it was affecting me. And so I had to take a step back. I was also eating unhealthy, because I was working all day, and then the only thing open at night on my way home from the office was, fast food. So, it can really catch up to you in different ways that aren't productive. So we've also made a health change as well.
Yeah, we've been nothing but healthy now.
But we don't have distractions, that helps. Like we don't watch TV that much. We try to limit our time in social media. And we do different things that really help us stay productive to keep us on the right path. And
but I think the number one is just always asking the world for more, right?
Yeah. Law of attraction, bring it to you. Focus on making your dreams a reality.
Yeah.
Vision boards, and just focusing on what we want out of life and really believing in it, already acting like it's already happening, like it's already coming true.
Yes.
And it will. And that's what we really
like
always focus on.
I don't sleep a lot,
and you know all about that. And it's just all about believing in all these things, like they're going to happen. And that's how they do happen.
And having someone to push you.
In the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And he constantly pushes me to be the best that I can be. And it really helps get me to the next level.
Well, I was going to say, I appreciate you guys. You guys have shared so much amazing information today. So we're going to sign off, everyone. So thank you so much for listening to the episode 7 of the Step 1 podcast. We hope this podcast gave you everything that you needed, the ideas, the motivation, the strategies you needed in order to take your first step or your next steps in business and in life. And for all that, we say thank you so much. Go out there and crush it. Take care.
Thank you so much.